is under 5%, which is what they were in New York per capita in April. Now, as far as a possible rift at the White House between President Trump and Dr. Anthony Fauci.
I have a very good relationship with Dr. Fauci. I've had for a long time, right from the beginning. I find him to be a very nice person. I don't always agree with him.
President Trump speaking there at the White House on Monday. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown is asking the public to be patient with his strategies to curb violent crime in Chicago. This past weekend, 64 people were shot and 13 of them were killed. Mixed bag on Wall Street at the closing bell as the Dow was up, but the NASDAQ and S&P were both down. You're listening to USA Radio News.
This is good news, maybe exactly when you need it to. Right now, MediShare is waiving their new member fees. This could save you money on top of all that you'll save each month by becoming a member of MediShare. So many people are looking for a healthcare solution right now, seeing the cost of COBRA plans, for instance. And MediShare is the affordable alternative to health insurance. The typical family saves $500 a month, but you might save even more. MediShare is a Christian community that shares each other's healthcare costs, and because of the current economic situation, they're making it easier than ever. Apply by July 31st, and you'll save an additional $170 on your first month. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Just tell them the promo code SHARE to receive your additional savings. Maybe now is the time to make the switch, like more than 400,000 people already have, and start saving. Here it is. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
A 24-year-old mother was shot and killed by a Black Lives Matter mob in Indianapolis for allegedly saying all lives matter. Jessica Doty Whitaker was shot and killed following an altercation with a Black Lives Matter protester who was upset that she and her fiancé said all lives matter. Due to some pressure and the loss of millions of dollars, one team is retiring their nickname. With the details, here's USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes in Washington.
One of America's oldest pro football teams is changing the nickname it's had for nearly 90 years, but with no decision yet on a new name. For now, it's a case of Hail to the Hail Victory. The Washington, D.C. NFL team's front office announcing this morning it's dropping the moniker Redskins and its logo effective immediately under pressure from some who say it's offensive to Native Americans, and that included some key sponsors.
You're listening to USA Radio News.
Working from home? I'm Chad Dodd, veterinarian and consultant to Limp Bells. Here are some tips for keeping your dog fit while staying at home. Find 15 minutes twice a day and walk your pet at a decent pace around your place. Play hide and seek by hiding some kibble or favorite toys and letting your dog find them. If you have stairs and your dog is mobile, walk up and down twice a day for 5 to 10 minutes. Or better yet, try a power walk on your terrace or backyard for some fresh air. There are more helpful pet care tips at youmove.com, spelled youmove.com.
After a sweltering weekend, heat advisories and excessive heat warnings continue from California all the way to Mississippi.
It's going to be hot. It's summer, right? So while it's not that we haven't seen these types of conditions before, there's just some locations that are going to be near daily record.
Laura Pagano with the National Weather Service continues on NBC saying,
next couple of days, we're seeing let's say around 24 sites across the southwest and southern tier that could tie or break records. And these are for forecast high temperatures.
Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego is advocating for some changes to be made as coronavirus cases spike in Arizona. The mayor telling CBS's Face the Nation some places should not be open.
Protections, including moving restaurants completely to takeout, have some of the riskier personal care situations like nail salons. We think that's just not necessary right now while you're seeing such high levels of the virus.
What the mayor was not asked in that interview was why she doesn't declare a state of emergency in the city of Phoenix, as she could make restaurants in the city takeout only. The city council would have to approve the measure, and there is a possibility that Arizona Republican Governor Doug Ducey could challenge the city's authority. The mayor of Phoenix spending her time doing interviews with MSNBC, CBS, CNN, and The Washington Post. For more news, find us online at usaradio.com. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
What's the story? Blast off. Yay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we are. Yeah.
We made it.
We did. We all landed and we're all safe. How about you, April? Are you safe?
I'm good. I'm landed, grounded, safe, parked.
Well, I'm not grounded. I will not say that about my disposition today. It is not a grounded disposition. It is a fired up.
Welcome
ready
to my
roll.
world. Right? But that's how I live every day lately.
Yep, that's right. Well, lately it's just been one thing after the other, and I don't know. So, but we are really glad to be here on What's the Story. We are, like many businesses, remaking ourselves every single day, and it's such a fun thing to do, isn't it?
No, it feels like a Monday, doesn't it?
Oh, does it? Is it? What day is it? Oh, I don't know. The pandemic has only intensified my energy as an entrepreneur. How about that?
Like it.
That's great. That's great.
Because
I like what you said. You're reinventing yourself every day.
Every day.
That's
People
good.
say, what do you do? What don't I do? Right? In my category, just about anything. So that's legal. Anyhow, but today we are going to have an awesome show. It is going to be just so much fun. We have a great guest, Greg Schwemm, who is a humorist and author. He does corporate gigs a lot, and he has some other things that he used to do pre-pandemic that hopefully he'll tell us about. So you'll have to stay tuned. He'll be on around 3:15-ish, right in there. So I'm excited about that. Then we also are going to talk about COVID by the numbers. And I'm going to take my analytic hat out. And I did a lot of calculating this weekend. And with the help of my sister, who encouraged me because she's so frustrated.
Did you guys need more tools than fingers?
Yes.
Right.
So we are going to share some of those numbers. And then in the same vein, April is going to talk a little bit about endurance, right?
That is correct.
Especially in light of the pandemic. The endurance part has been quite important.
It is. We talked about reality versus hope before, and this actually is in that same category. So I was just continuing that theme.
Great. And in our second half, so if you don't know, we are a 2-hour show. We do our first hour and then take a 5-minuter with our news, 5 to 7, I don't know. Christian will correct me if I'm wrong. 7-minuter. What can I say? It's a little bit. And so then we start in and we do a little bit of current events, and I have some very interesting, fun stories for you. Some that are a little sarcastic fun, others that, just good. And then during story time, I'm going to talk about the one-horse ranch. So how about that? And I actually know the one-horse ranch.
Nice.
I've been there and in another life. And then I think you're going to share some stuff with us, aren't you,
Yeah, I'm
Ed?
going to talk a little bit about adversity in what's going on. Hopefully that's complementary to April's endurance.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, we have often been complimentary to each other.
Especially when
She says with dripping with sarcasm.
No, aside from some birds, some geese, some lake, a little water, we're good.
Ever since you've been talking about like baby unicorns and stuff, right? We have a lot of commonality.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, dripping with sarcasm. No. Not really. April, it's not good when you're not here because you can't feel the energy the same.
No, I can't. I can't even see you guys. So
I know.
I just see me and the clock.
That's all right. That's all right. That's good that you have a clock too, right?
Yes.
And then in the same vein, we're kind of trying to stay thematic today. I don't always stay thematic, but talk about the book Endurance.
Oh, okay.
And I look at Doug, and he's like, "What? Am I supposed to be doing something?"
Because it's so hot right now. Everyone's having a heat wave. We need something that will cool us down.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. So that's all I got for you. So you guys can take over now.
Sounds like a load.
Did everybody have a good weekend? Nobody's going to talk? What is that?
You know what?
Wow,
I
dead air.
had an absolutely great weekend. I had my 12-year-old grandson for the entire weekend, and we just had a ball.
Oh,
so, yeah,
that's neat.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, he always wants to do something, and a lot of times you're scratching your head, but hey, we filled the time, so yeah, we had a lot of fun.
That's great. That's great. And
one of the things that I got some work out of him. Sorry.
No,
That's
it's
okay.
all good.
Yeah.
Got
well,
some
no,
work? It's impossible. He's 12. You didn't get work out of him.
I have a convertible car, and I told him, I said, you help me wax it, I'll take you out and teach you how to drive it. Oh, man, he was a waxing fool.
Oh, how funny.
And we went out over to the Grand Sierra in their big parking lot where there were no, and I had him just drive around and pretend he was parking in different slots, backing up, the way to do it. He absolutely loved it. So, yeah.
When you're on the farm, you did that all the time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Except you were mowing something.
Well, that's
or
true.
Or plowing something.
That's true.
Right. You were parking a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Or milking something.
Yeah.
But I did a little yoga and some yard work, moved some sandbags, cut some wood up, you know.
Wow, busy guy.
Huh. What did you
And
do
April?
with sandbags?
So I just had some old sandbags left over, and I put them up against the house in a low spot and threw some over my brother's got a fill hole.
He's going to
Just in
fill them?
case of the flood, right?
Fill hole. He's got a place he's trying to level up in the back of his yard. So wheelbarrow and hauling sandbags.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of hard work on a hot weekend.
Yeah, April, we'll have to hear from you when we come back.
Okay.
And
no worries.
actually, we'll have to hear from you after that because then we can have Greg. So,
Yeah, I'll just cool it.
That's right. Yeah, and I finished my 70-mile trip on my stationary bike, so I feel good about that.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. We're going to be right back. And when we do, we'll have Greg Schwim. So stay with us. Do not go away.
Hey, all you entrepreneurs out there. Whether you have a small business or work from home, LeRue Press offers a virtual office and business address for all your business needs. Located at 280 Gregg Street, Suite 10, LeRue Press is your personal assistant for friendly all-day service. Need a conference room to meet with clients? You got it. With LeRue Press, you also get phone answering service, mail forwarding, package pickup, and even help branding your business. Call LeRue Press at 849-3814 or go online to lrpnv.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
Please be done.
over and over and over and over and over, the But surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This overload.
Shannon Lawson here. Join us for the Nevada Radio Roundup, Fridays at 2 p.m. A good news variety show all about the local scene. The Nevada Roundup, Friday at 2.
Wake up, the sun below. Got another road, so let the fire feel the hope swelling up from the depths of my soul.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now back to the show.
This is What's the Story? And sometimes I think that we should go back on air on our breaks because there's always some entertaining things that happen during
We're
the
always a
breaks.
little more controversial and a little more truthful.
Oh, but I want to get right to our guest today, and that is Greg Schwemm. And he is a comedian. He's an author. I guess he calls himself a business humorist. And I'm anxious to hear more about you, Greg. I want to get right to you because we don't have a lot of time. So welcome to What's the Story?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, business humorist is correct. You started off by saying that I was a comedian, which is correct. I started my comedy career doing comedy clubs. Your typical comedian, but I gravitated into doing shows for the corporate sector, and that's what I've been doing the past 20 years or so.
And that's different than being a comedian and going out and doing the clubs.
Right, very much so. There's a whole different set of rules and a whole different audience. The club comedians don't try to make people laugh at 8:30 in the morning.
Right.
And sometimes that's what I've been doing. So, but I enjoy the challenge and I love the audiences, and it's a fascinating way to provide humor.
Well, one of the things in reading about you, it's fascinating to me because you have to do a fair amount of homework about these companies in order to really entertain these people at 8:30 in the morning, right?
Right, I do, and I couldn't do what I do without the web. That's kind of the way I work. Is I get a client, and let's say it's like I just did one for Cisco Systems. Now Cisco's a big company, as you know, so I find out what division of Cisco I'm working for, and then I get on the internet and I find out as much as I can about what they're doing and what products that they're developing, and then I sit down and I start writing material about that, and try and give them a show that not only is funny, but speaks to them as well.
So when you're doing these things, is this strictly to entertain? Is there any education piece to this? I mean, how do people go about?
Good question. First and foremost, I think it is to make people laugh about what they do and to show them that there is humor in every subject. I don't consider myself to be, say, a motivational speaker, but if they come away a little bit motivated, then that's a bonus. But basically, I just want to give people a break from the serious nature of what they do all day long. And I really do feel that humor in the workplace is lacking somewhat. And I'm here to bring it back. Not your workplace. I can tell by all the windows that people are having a great
I think it's kind of funny because I grew up in the fire department, and if you would ask all the firefighters, they would talk about the chief officers, and they'd say, "Hey, that's perfect for a comedian," because all of our chief officers are a joke.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I don't do that kind of humor. I don't do like roasting and so forth. But, I should probably mention that. I mean, what I do is very clean and above board. And I've always said that I'm not a mean-spirited performer or speaker. I just want people to feel good about what they do, and also feel good knowing that they work for an organization that hired somebody like me that felt it was okay.
Why did you choose that corporate lot, right? I'm kind of one of them, right? We're excitable, right? There were bumps on log. I mean, is that because they couldn't get up and run away, or is there some philosophy for why you chose that lot?
I think it was in the have to establish a niche for yourself and something to set you apart. And as I started by doing comedy clubs, and I did them for a few years, I kind of realized I wasn't really getting anywhere. I was getting steady work, but every week was just a different club, and they all looked alike after a while. And I thought, well, I could do this and I met guys that were had been doing it for 15, 20 years, and they didn't seem to be making any headway in it. So I was asked to speak for Hewlett Packard by a corporate agent here in Chicago where I live. And I performed, and I had written some material about them, and I just saw how much they were enjoying it, how much they were enjoying laughing at themselves. And I thought to myself, I can do this. I'm good at this. And I see an opening here. I see an avenue. And that's why I transitioned over to being not a comedian, but, as you said at the top of the program, a business humorist.
That's just,
I kind of have a serious question. When, you say you write about it, you investigate them. What is it that you specifically look for? What is your style of humor? What do you actually look for within them that you think that they will find humor for? I know you probably have a particular thing that you look for. What is that?
Well, first of all, I have to remember that these people, even though they go to work every day, that they're family people. They go home at night. They have kids. They share the same problems that everybody does. They travel. Obviously nobody's traveling right now, but they're away from home. So I write material about that. These is material that everybody can relate to. But I think also I like to I like to talk about, as I said, the products that they're talking about. To me, the more complicated the company, the funnier it is. The more complex what they do, the funnier it sounds.
Can you give us a little example of that humor?
Yeah. Basically, okay. One thing I love to do is I get on like the job openings for a company, because every company is always, I don't care how tight the labor market is, they're all hiring. And I find the most complex job posting, and it's always something like, you have to be a school, you have to be an expert in AACP XY42. There's always all these acronyms and computer systems, and at the end, the last one is always, oh yeah, and you have to have outstanding verbal skills. So it's that, and that's like an actual job posting. So a lot of times I'll just throw back at them what's on their website, and they probably didn't even know it existed. Their mission statement, they're very complex, and they sound just bizarre and weird, and somebody wrote it for their company. But I think sometimes if you just have an outsider pointing things out on their website that maybe sound totally normal to them, but abnormal to somebody from outside the company, that's what makes them laugh. And that's what I think.
I think that that's missing in our world. And I think that more people need to do that. I appreciate that you're able to pull that together, because
it would seem to me that, if you get the entire crew laughing about the mission statement, the guy at the top, probably the CEO that gave the approval on it, you might kind of be walking on thin ice here.
A little. Well, usually the marketing people that come to me afterwards and go, "Thanks a lot, I wrote that."
That's right.
Yeah, but you know what though?
We'll be changing that tomorrow. But they're not upset about it. I think that it's kind of a joke within them, and if anything, I probably shone a spotlight on what they do. One of my favorite jokes is about that I do in just all shows is talking about the human resources department, HR, and I always said that, and this is a true story. I did a show for 1,500 HR representatives in San Antonio a few years ago, and the joke I do is I said, if you think your job's tough, try doing stand-up comedy for a group that's paid to suck the fun out of everything. And there's, everybody loves to laugh at human resources, including human resources.
Right, right. That's very true. So
it's that guy said, it never gets mean. It never gets like, I've learned that there's a very fine line when you do these corporate dates between having fun with an organization and belittling them or mocking them or talking down to them. And some people who do what I do don't understand that. And, corporate audiences are they're very smart, and they They know when you've done your homework, and they know when you're phoning one in. And I want to be that guy that they know in the first few minutes that I did my homework on them.
And I want to mention this before we have to let you go. You have a book as well.
I do. Well, I have two, but my current book is called The Road to Success Goes Through the Salad Bar. And that's full of a lot of business stories that didn't quite make it into my on-stage act. Just big stories about corporate meetings and online job interviews that we're doing now. What to do during. Are you eating during my presentation?
Not me.
Not me.
I love this Zoom thing. I wasn't sure this was going to be a video.
No,
call.
you have to kind of turn that around. And say,
he called you out.
I'm plugging my book, and the group is snacking while I'm doing it.
I always enjoy a good snack with a good book. Right? I always enjoy a snack with a good book.
There you go. So The Road to Success Goes Through the Salad Bar. And then my book before that, both which you can get on Amazon, is Text Me If You're Breathing, Observations, Frustrations, and Life Lessons from a Low-Tech Dad. That's all about family humor and trying to stay one step ahead of your kids in a high-tech world.
Oh, that's great. And share with us your website, too, so that people can go check you out there.
Yes, and I can say I am doing virtual shows now, and I know that sounds kind of weird to be doing making people laugh via a computer, but it's very gratifying. It's strangely gratifying, and as you said, it is definitely needed right now.
Yes.
Laughter in these times. So it's gregschwem.com. So that's Greg, SCHWEM.com.
And I put that on the website also on our page on What's the Story. And check Greg out. He's a funny guy. And if you've got a corporate gig that you need done, then get a hold of him.
Live or virtually.
There you go. That's even better, right? We've opened up doors with our lovely pandemic.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, and go back to your dinner now.
Thanks, Greg, and we'll have you again. You take care.
Oh, I would love to come back. Thank you so much.
All right. This is What's the Story. We'll be right back.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 775-356-1004 or go to lrpnv.com. With a great selection of new and used books, you can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Book Hound radio show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man on the Map, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
Would you like more energy? A photon sound beam may be the solution you need. A photon sound beam uses electrical energy to ionize gases that generate ozone and light to enter your body directly through the skin. The energy produced by a photon sound beam assists your body's healing process. It does this by improving the electrical energy of the body's cells. Get your photon sound beam by calling 702-444-LUCKY. The optimal cell voltage for the body cells is between 70 and 100 millivolts. When cell voltage decreases below 60 millivolts, the cell becomes weakened and diseased. For example, cancer cells usually have a cell voltage below 30 millivolts. Call 702-444-LUCKY and order your photon sound beam today. A longer, healthier, and more vital life is only made possible with optimal cell voltage. The photon sound beam has also been found to be effective in relieving pain, inflammation, and joint stiffness, as well as improving immune function. Call 702-444-LUCKY and get a free quote for your photon sound beam. That number again is 702-444-5825.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak. I'd walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station, the power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. You are listening to What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermson, and I didn't even say hi officially to everybody that's here. April Kempler on Zoom.
Hi.
Maybe. Delayed. 20-second delay.
I can see you guys. I'm so excited.
Oh, yay. And then Ed Knoll.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And Mr. Doug Ashby.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, there's Amber's waving. I guess we can wave back, huh?
Oh, all right.
People on the radio can't hear a wave, can they?
No, they can't hear a wave. That's for sure. So, and I also want to thank our sponsors. We have many, but in particular, Susie Hussner. The music, if you are hearing it, and I don't know, are we hearing on Facebook now? Okay, yeah. So if you hear the music, that is SusieHussner.com and produced by LightBlackProductions.com. And we thank them for their sponsorship. And of course, Kempler Design, Omega Mortgage, Mr. Brian T. Shirley, and our wonderful station, America Matters Media. So we are appreciative of everyone. And don't forget, LeRue Press, we sponsor as well.
Right,
Okay.
and may we all get some backbone.
Yeah, we had an off-air conversation about backbones and lack of that are hanging out there. So these are troubled times, and part of those troubled times, great segue for that, is the fact that we're all dealing with the media putting out their fantastic, dramatic headlines about the spikes in the COVID. And oh my, isn't everybody afraid? And again, you know, I think I've said this many times. I'll say it one more time just as a caveat. Yes, I do believe that COVID is dangerous. Yes, I do believe you have to be careful. Yes, I believe it exists. However, at the same time, I don't think it's in our backyard right at the moment. And I think that the sensationalism that the media uses is irresponsible. And so because of that, and because my sister is more of an analytic than I am, we started talking about the fact that, you know, all this was going on, and they were saying there's spikes in Florida, Texas, and oh my, it's awful. And we started looking at some numbers. And then I heard a radio program yesterday as I was driving back from my office. I had to go out over the weekend and pick some things up, and I flipped this station on, and he was talking about Texas, the size of Texas, and Florida versus New York. And it created this desire for me to check numbers, because I said, you know, what we really need is data, and we're not getting good data from the media. They're not doing their job of analysis, right?
Duh.
That's what we rely on them
Yeah.
for. Analyze this for us. I don't want to have to sit down and do this.
It's agenda driven.
Well, I think it is, yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which station you're on, they all have an agenda, you know,
Yes.
right, left,
Yeah.
middle. They all seem to have some political agenda that's going to, you know, this guy's bad, this guy's good. You know, that's not what I care about. What I care about right now.
I think too it's about gaining readership and
Yes,
you know,
clicks.
shocking headlines.
Yes.
And how many times can they shock us with worst is yet to come?
Right.
Worst is yet to, I've heard this scenario over, and perhaps it's correct, I don't know, but you know, surge,
Right.
worst.
Right.
So yeah, it's a broken record.
It is. So I'm going to try and really keep it simple if I can, because I know it's hard to do analysis on this kind of a thing, and I don't really want to get too far into the weeds. But I looked at Texas, New York, and Florida, because this was the comparison this particular broadcaster was making. And his point was that they're the second, third. These are my what I found. Second, third, and fourth most populous states. Okay, so I said, okay, this is a contact type of disease. This is a virus that is contracted by contact. How big is New York? How big is Texas? How big is Florida? What kind of landmass do they have, right? Because we're all talking about it's unique to each area, and we have to look at that. So there's 54,555 square miles in New York, compared to Florida, which is 65,758 square miles. Pretty the same.
Yeah, pretty close.
Right? Now, Texas, huge. You can put countries. You can put Ecuador in Texas.
You might be able to put 2 of these in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. You can put a few. I looked up the different countries they were saying that could go inside of Texas. So big states. So let's omit Texas for the moment. So you got Florida, you got New York, pretty comparable. Their populations, 21 million in Florida, 19 in New York. So those are pretty close.
Yep.
Their deaths to date in New York are 24,979. The deaths to date in Florida, as of yesterday, according to my chart, which is the COVID tracking project, 4,346.
How many?
4,346.
If you would think you listen to the press, you'd think that was 400,000.
That's right. Now, I also want to point out that currently hospitalized in New York is only 801, and in Florida there's over 7,000 hospitalized. But their recoveries in New York are 71,000. They started earlier. Florida is just now kind of ramping up. But if you look at the percentages, if you start to do the calculations, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because it would bore you to death, but the fact of the matter is that total hospitalized in New York was 89,000. So far, the total hospitalized in Florida is only 18,000.
So wouldn't that
with
be
another
below,
7 now?
Wouldn't that be below expectations based
well
on New York?
below expectations.
Why are they telling us it's over the top, over increase? I mean, it's
You
just
tell me.
It's just a lie.
You tell
Nobody
me.
knows the answer to that.
Yeah, so come on, we all know the
So
answer.
then I looked at Nevada,
inside,
Washington, and I kind of did some calculations, some comparisons, tried to get percentages. Is there any accurate percentage of the total populations that would be the same? So number of deaths to the population. Would there somewhere be some number? The best I could come up with that seemed to go more across the board, because New York is skewed. It's just totally skewed. But look at how their population lives. They're all together, right? The rest of the states, most of them anyway, really are pretty spread out, right?
Yep.
So, it seems to me that that's part of the cause of, just, again, not being anything official, but you look at it and say, well, it makes sense to me. They're close together. They had more cases. Florida, people live further apart. They're outside. They're in the sun. They're doing things. They're not, they're not getting it as much.
If you board a dog, you need a shot.
Right. So I said, well, how many people were tested? Because that's going to, be part of it. In New York, over 4 million. In Florida, over 2 million. Even if I double the deaths to date, that's still only 8,000 compared to 24,000. So there's something skewy here. Right. So, I think that as Americans, we need to look at what we're being fed. We need to find facts like this, and I will direct you to the COVID Tracking Project Stats Index, which if you look at it too much, you end up having to sign up, but you can get a 7-day trial. And it might help you to at least kind of work through what you're feeling about this, because I know once I did this, I started to feel a lot better about what was going on. Even our governor, he's shut down bars. And
he's ridiculous.
And these numbers are saying that things are dropping, not increasing.
Yeah,
if
he's
you do
just
the
afraid.
comparison.
He's afraid.
Okay. So, yeah. And
Well, a lot of people are afraid.
yes, they are.
But
We only have a couple minutes left, but we do have a caller, and I want to take the call. Garrett, welcome to What's the Story? Welcome.
What's going on?
Oh.
Not too much. Just calling from New York. I just thought I'd, weigh in a little bit.
I would love to hear your...
In terms of,
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm up in Albany, so I'm a couple hours from the city. Kind of like the old epicenter.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's kind of been strange. I've run a business through the whole thing, so I've never had any shutdown period, let's say. But yeah, it's been very interesting.
So
what would you guys like to know from a state where it's ramping up versus a state where it's going down?
So I don't think we're ramping up, right? I think we're like trying to kick it to the curb where you guys are.
Yeah.
In Nevada,
Nevada's in the, New York just put Nevada on the do not travel list.
And it's silly.
If I went there, I'd have to take 2 weeks out of work if I went there and came back.
Right. Yeah.
So
and
I'm looking.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at travel, and I can't do it. So.
We're going backpacking in Wyoming, Wind River, in the end of August. And normally Garrett flies to Nevada, rides with his dad and I to the site, and we go. He can't because he's got a quarantine for 2 weeks in Nevada, so he's flying to Colorado, and we're meeting him there.
I can't fly to Nevada because I would have to take
Is that the most ridiculous thing ever?
Well, and I don't, based on what you're being told, I don't blame your governor for doing what he's doing based on what you're hearing. But the fact that
I don't like the guy, but he's done very well considering.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Based on what you're hearing, I would agree with that. But then I look at the numbers that I'm seeing on these stats, and I'm seeing things going down. So my first thing that I'm going to do is question my governor and say, well, hold on. What numbers do you have that we're not seeing and that aren't being reported to everybody else? Because I'm pulling from numbers that are being reported widely. So that will be my next question, and I'll be asking our governor. And if I get an answer, I'll certainly let you know.
Well, the thing is, it's just the percentage. So it's like we're only looking at that percentage. So it's like per 1,000 people or something.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of skewed stuff happening there. So thank you for calling, Garrett. We got to go. We got to take a break.
I'll have a good one. I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you.
Be good, man.
All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to What's the Story?
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In '95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In '05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in '09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
1 in 3 adults in America have pre-diabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Here's 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mama. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
No word in English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Getting to know you. Let me tell you about America Matters with Eddie Floyd. It comes on every Monday at noon. Don't want you to miss it. That's America Matters with Eddie Floyd.
Now she's gone like a...
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story, and we were talking COVID. We had a New York caller, and that was nice of him to share his thoughts. And I actually was not aware that we were on that list, that you can't fly to Nevada.
I only knew because he tried to schedule a flight.
Right. So living here, we don't know that we've been banned.
Even though that while we were there, our death rate's gone down 92%.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's really crazy. So, but now that we've got y'all into the data of what's going on with COVID, April's going to share some of her thoughts about endurance and kind of how do we get through all of this.
Okay, yeah, because we can't change. We have no power over the media or what authorities deem what we should be doing or not doing.
Right.
But we do have control of ourselves.
Yes.
And so I wanted to, before I get to an application that's sort of relevant to our modern day, I had a couple stories that I wanted to share that Paul and I had been talking about. And one was hope versus reality. And I think this goes hand in hand with endurance. And he had read this in the comments section of an article he was reading, and he shared it with me. And so this man, his name's James Stockdale, he was talking about how he cultivated the mental strength to survive 7 torturous years as a POW in North Vietnam. When asked who didn't make it out of the POW camp, Stockdale replied, "Oh, that's easy. The optimists. They were the ones who said, we're going to be out by Christmas." And then Christmas would come and Christmas would go. And then they'd say, we're going to be out by Easter. And Easter would come and Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again. And they died of a broken heart. So this is a very important lesson, Stockdale continued. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. So this really reminded me of my father-in-law, Joseph Kempler, who is a Holocaust survivor. And one of his stories that's in his memoir, The Altered Eye, he relates how he was in these camps and he had no hope for getting out of the camp or being a prisoner or being a laborer and working hard. What he hoped for was that someday he would have his own locker. He would keep his bread in this locker. He would lock it. It would be safe. No one would steal it. That was his only hope. And so this is how you gain this mental strength. If you keep looking forward to, oh, well, by this certain date, this is going to be over, this will be that, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. This personally is where I have been since this thing started. I keep thinking and projecting and being disappointed and having to start all over again. And one of these applications that I wanted to talk about was a basic principle that I read this in the Wall Street Journal, and the headline here is, as offices reopen amid coronavirus, workers clash over masks, cubicle barriers, and Lysol. So how are we enduring this situation? Some of us have to go back to work. Some of us never left work, and they're clashing in this workplace over. Some people take this seriously. Some people don't take it at all seriously, and some people are over the top with it. So people are having these different viewpoints, these different scenarios, these different realities, and they are trying to work together. They have to work together, so they have to get through this. How are they enduring? And it goes down to a principle that I have fallen back on myself, that keep putting up with one another, even though you have cause for complaint. So the crux of this article was that people need to discuss these things in a calm way. They need to not blame or accuse or get emotional about this, but they have to work together and they have to get through it. So you have to understand each other's perspective on this. And if there's something that you can do to ease that worry, then do that. And to raising your voice, dismissing this whole thing, or trying to convince somebody of something that they already believe in or they don't believe in is really not going to work. And so we need to not have, number one, we need to not have optimistic viewpoint that, oh, this will be over soon and I don't have to deal with it anymore. We need to deal with it each day. We deal with this reality. And then number two, we need to put up with each other and our idiosyncrasies and try and find the common ground.
Boy, if you can do that, my dear, you're gonna, be doing well.
Well, I'm not a miracle worker.
So I was going to say, how do you discuss it
Tanisha,
without giving your opinion?
Yeah, Tanisha actually said she was just reading that article, April. We need to find a balance of opinion, in my opinion.
Right?
Yes, I want to respect. I do all the things I am told to do with the mask and the hand washing and the sanitizing and the wipes. Now,
but what if someone
to talk about something? Then the best thing to do is you can avoid a person if they're really putting you on edge. You don't have to confront them.
So,
you have to pick your battles.
Let's talk about a real situation, right? Let's talk about me and you, right? I'm not masky, right? I am not using stuff, and you want stuff. What's the solution for you?
I wear the mask. I hand sanitize. I just keep my distance, and I'm not going to force you to wear a mask. I don't care. Some days I don't wear a mask. When I'm out on my walk, I'm not wearing a mask, and I hope I'm not being judged for that.
Well, for sure you are, and what I'm saying is you're judging me. What is that criteria? What I'm saying is, best I know, every one of those discussions go towards full suit up, right? I'm wrong for not protecting. You're right, and it all goes towards the protection people. The people who say that they don't need it never get any compromise their way.
Yeah, one of the guys in the cubicles made a string of paper clips to barricade his cubicle to show a line of "Don't cross in here." So he's defending his space. And I guess people will lean over you to look at what you're working on.
But people do that with or without the coronavirus. That's just turf in the office. That's regular stuff.
Yeah. So there's
I've never done paper clips.
I've seen it done.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well. I don't know.
So I think we can endure.
Better test
I think we can just, we're just going to have to take each day's.
But do you understand my point of view? The people that feel like I do don't get a compromise because they have to go your way. That's you don't compromise, right? It's mask and gloves or nothing. You don't have a lesser dress down.
No comment.
I'm not sure I understand why there would be the problem, though.
Well, you were talking about compromise. You're all good if everyone compromises your way. You're not compromising at all. That's what I'm saying.
That's not at all what I said.
Well, I know, but what you do and what you say are different things.
It seems that way, yes.
I think she does a very good job of living her attitude. I mean,
but the point that Ed's making is the fact that there's no compromise.
There's no compromise
because
in her.
Now, well, first of all, because of the law, there can't be compromise, right? I mean,
by
it's
law.
not my law. I'm going by law.
No, but there's still no compromise in you.
Well, but there's some things that don't lend to compromise.
Well, but she just did a whole presentation on how important it was.
Well, it is important. It's important. I think the correct question for that I think we should ask. If everybody had the strict attitude that April has, would we be at the same place we are today? Or if everybody had your attitude, would we fall behind?
Well, I will go to my data from Florida and from New York, and I'm going to say, well, Florida didn't follow the rules, and New York started to toward the end, and that seems to have helped them. But again, it's not apples and apples, right?
But it's
and
24,000 deaths, 24,000 deaths in New York to 8 or 4 in Florida.
Right.
To me, opening up is a better choice.
Right. Yeah, but you also have to look at climate. You have to look at area. You have to look at.
But they're guessing. They don't know.
No, I know. That is my point. You have made my point. They are guessing, and so are we. So let's all get facts and not rely on media sensationalism, and then do what's best for you. I mean, that's really the point.
That's
right?
exactly right.
To my credit, I try to live by principles that are tried and true. Those don't go wrong. They've been proven. These people don't know what to do or what the answers are. Even the experts don't know.
No.
And the principles, they are accurate.
Hold it. What principles? What are you talking about specifically?
She's got less than a minute here.
Guiding life, putting in others' interests first and life above money. And what I said, putting up with one another.
Come on, that's not. That's
now Ed's not going to buy into that.
That's Pollyanna.
It doesn't have to. I get along with most people. I don't know that
you get along with Ed too.
I'm talking about the world, right? We're talking about more than us.
All right. Well, we're going to have to talk about the world in the next hour because this hour is almost up.
What?
I hate to cut you guys off, but we're having so much fun.
Right, 1 or 2 more people probably got the disease by now.
All right, well,
Ed just gets fired up whenever I say.
He does.
That's good.
All right, well, I posted the COVID tracking project stats link. If you want to get it, it's on our What's the Story page. And we'll be back after this break for news, so don't go away. And don't let them scare you.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
So here's the choice. Some people say the USA is finished. It's evil, a has-been, full of hate and injustice. The U.S. Constitution should be trashed and the Bill of Rights abolished. No free speech, no gun ownership. Competition and free markets are bad. We're all too stupid. For our own good, the government must own everything and know all your secrets.
Other people say that America has created the freest, richest, happiest, most generous society that has ever existed in the world. That's why millions of people are desperate to come here and escape their brutal lives in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and 100 other countries.
In America, we have the right to succeed, the right to our own living, the right to have a family, the right to believe in God, the right to have our own ideas, the right to be safe and secure, and the right to be left alone.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore the American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
This is America Matters Media Radio, heard worldwide on the web at americamatters.us and on KCKQ 1180 AM, Reno.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
Hosting an event with law enforcement officials at the White House, President Trump calls his administration pro-safety, pro-police, and anti-crime.
They'll go and march on areas and rip everything down in front of them. If that's what you want for a country, You probably have to vote for Sleepy Joe Biden because he doesn't know what's happening.
The president says he's also getting rave reviews for commuting the prison sentence of Roger Stone.
He had a jury forewoman who hated Roger Stone and who hated probably me, but she went on a false pretense and he wasn't given a fair trial.
After a spike in coronavirus cases in California, California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is ordering every county in California to shut down indoor dining, as well as bars, gyms, churches, and hair salons. This is USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I haven't gotten a cold in 2.5 years. My wife can't argue with my track record because she's seen me not get sick. My daughter got sick over Christmas. My wife got it about 3 days after she left. I went through both of them, didn't get sick. I tell people I like to think my immune system is armored up and I'm able to repel these simple, stupid colds. And if it isn't that, then what is it? Because I'd get at least a couple colds a year. And what has changed in the last 2.5 years? The only thing I can think of is I'm taking my fruits and vegetables, the balance of nature.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com, and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code USA.
California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is ordering bars, restaurants, and theaters to close indoor operations as the state struggles to curtail a surge of coronavirus cases. The hardest hit counties will see the toughest restraints, which include most of Southern California as well as the San Francisco Bay Area. To date, just over 7,000 people have died in California from coronavirus. Grocery store Kroger says they will stop giving out change due to a shortage caused by the coronavirus pandemic. In June, the Fed Reserve said there had been a significant disruption in the supply chain of coins. Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell saying customers weren't going to stores, and as a result, the flow of coins kind of stopped. Kroger offering customers two options: either apply their change to their loyalty card and use it on their next purchase, or donate it to Kroger's Roundup program. Kroger has just over 2,700 grocery stores across the United States. USA Radio News.
Working from home? I'm Chad Dodd, veterinarian and consultant to Limp Bells. Here are some tips for keeping your dog fit while staying at home. Find 15 minutes twice a day and walk your pet at a decent pace around your place. Play hide and seek by hiding some kibble or favorite toys and letting your dog find them. If you have stairs and your dog is mobile, walk up and down twice a day for 5 to 10 minutes. Or better yet, try a power walk on your terrace or backyard for some fresh air. There are more helpful pet care tips at youmove.com, spelled YOUMove.com.
Lawmakers are back in Washington, D.C. next Monday. Now, one of the big things on the agenda will be another stimulus bill. And according to Republican Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, they'll be under some time deadlines, but they should be able to get something done.
Well, there are a couple of deadlines, as you mentioned. One is the enhanced unemployment insurance benefits that run out on July 31st. The other is the Paycheck Protection Program, which has been so successful. That runs out on August 8th. That's helped keep about 50 million people on their, on a payroll. And in Wyoming, we had 13,000 of those loans. So, yeah, there's an urgency to get this done. A lot of different things in the components of it. The question is, should it include additional relief checks for people who have still not been able to get back to work, certainly in hard-hit industries, whether it's the service industry, the hospitality industry. We did that once before, but that was at people up to $95,000. We're looking at a lower number there. And then the unemployment insurance, as you raised, these are enhanced benefits where they've been paying people $600 a week above their own state unemployment benefits.
Police confirming on Monday that they have found a body as the search for missing Glee actress Naya Riviera at a California lake continues. Authorities would not say immediately if the person found was Riviera. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters Media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Now she's gone like a little
Welcome back. Well, we have solved the problems of COVID, and
we've stirred the pot. I don't think we've solved anything.
Stirred it up.
Sure makes you feel good, though, doesn't it?
Not really. It's angry, aggravating to me, just like Jan, right? That space, man, because it's nonsensical.
Well, if you weren't listening and you just tuned in, this is What's the Story, and I'm here with my co-hosts, all my co-hosts, April Kempler, Ed Knoll, Doug Ashby, our awesome engineer Christian, and we have been talking about COVID. We did some numbers. We talked about enduring, and so they're all hyped up about who should wear a mask, who shouldn't, and all that stuff. So.
Oh, right.
So that's where we are, and we're going to go away from that, and that is current events, but we're going to talk some current events here. I have a few stories that I think you guys will be interested in. I try to look for things that are beyond Nevada, and so that we kind of know, well, what else is going on out there besides what's happening right here in our backyard. We already know what's happening in our backyard. If you're listening in Nevada, you might like to know that in Maryland, and this is a Fox News report, a Maryland man may be the first person successfully vaccinated against COVID-19. So I thought that would be maybe a positive story, perhaps. I don't know. In this crowd, it could be anything, right?
Unfortunately, he died, right?
No, and what they're indicating, I'm not going to read the whole story, but I will post it. The coronavirus will likely come in early 2021, or vaccine will likely come in early 2021. A Maryland man believes he may be one of the first people to be successfully vaccinated against the coronavirus after he participated in a trial that promised early results in producing antibodies. So this gentleman seems to think that he might be the first guy to have gotten the vaccine and maybe be successfully protected. So that could mean that all our conversations here could go out the window unless you choose not to have the vaccine. Then we'll have a whole nother conversation about that.
Now, is this a sanctioned deal where is he going to be part of a test group?
So
he was in a part of one already.
Yeah, he's in a drug study, and
yes.
now he's seizing opportunity and rising up and getting his 15 minutes of fame.
That's right. So he's due to be tested in October to determine if he does have immunity against the virus. I've thought about this. So what, do you give him the virus and see if he's immune? I mean, really, this is crazy.
Well, that's like people waiting in line to get the test. What's it tell you? Right? It doesn't tell you anything or protect you from anything.
This is like back in the days of the smallpox, right? They gave them the smallpox.
I know. So if the trial proves successful, Pfizer said it'll produce 100 million doses before the end of the year and more than 1 billion doses next year. So this is contrary to your don't be too optimistic thing.
Yeah, come on, April. You got to be optimistic. I don't care.
So My thing was never give up faith that you will prevail in the end.
I'm teasing you. Come on. You know what I'm doing.
But don't set a date.
All right. So I just posted that article so you can read it for yourself. It's on our What's the Story page. And so that's what's happening in Maryland. So if you're in Maryland, you're among or you are in the same, what is it? How many degrees?
Epicenter.
No, some certain degrees near somebody in your state that is maybe a COVID survivor here, right? But this story is from South Carolina. So, Brian, if you're listening, this is right there in your neck of the woods, Brian T. Shirley. A woman was killed by an alligator after trying to take pictures and touch the animal. And I read this article, and I just could not believe it. First of all, I guess this is from The Independent, probably a South Carolina deal. Cynthia Covert was heard saying, "Are you ready? I guess I won't do this again," before she died.
Ooh.
She went to...
Did it say how big it was?
Oh, it's a good-sized alligator. They're showing a picture of it here. And I will post this one as well. Oh, yeah. So she was told she was having her nails done, or I don't know, you'll have to read the article, and they told her, don't go out there, don't go near it, because it went after a deer. She goes, "Oh, I don't look like a deer." And she went out there.
I don't know that people are using their brain.
Are you kidding me? So yeah, that was what she said prior to dying.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't
I
need
won't
to
do
go.
this again.
Did she have a mask on?
Only you would ask that.
You don't.
Now,
Ed.
maybe if her salon had been closed, she wouldn't have been out in the first place.
I have no idea.
April, come on. That is no that you know
Not
what, man.
against
Are you on Governor Sisolak's staff?
I love it.
You don't need,
Well done, April.
you don't need to go to the Carolinas to find that stupidity. We have it right here in our national forests with the bears.
Oh yeah.
Don't feed
Don't
the
feed
bears.
the bears. Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
you will
there's.
always see people, and once a year you'll see somebody that's been mauled by one.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
She didn't watch enough horror movies with animals that attack you.
Apparently not.
Like, remember
There-
that alligator
there
one where
was-
she dropped
yeah,
it in the
there
ditch?
was a reference that perhaps she'd either had a couple or maybe there was just a reference to that. Nobody actually came right out and said that, but at any rate, yeah, that was kind of an interesting story. And then in Nebraska, the governor is encouraging everyone, talking about different states and what we're all doing with this COVID. And he says, no, get out there, go out to our parks, go outside, go visit the parks. So he's encouraging his folks to get out there and visit each other. So, you got 3 different states, 3 different things going on. In South Carolina, they must have nail salons happening. So, what can you say?
Yeah, visit the nail salon, but don't touch the alligator.
So is this like MLB or football, NFL or something? We can trade governors, right? So we can hey, we'll give you a gov and the casino, and
you want
give
Nebraska, right?
Well, right.
It's like
We'll take your.
Only you'd think of that.
Well, right.
Tanisha's got another question for you. I'll ask you at the break. Tanisha, I'll ask him at the break. All right, you are listening to What's the Story. If you're not on Facebook, you should be. We're on the What's the Story page. We'll be right back.
Hey, all you entrepreneurs out there. Whether you have a small business or work from home, LeRue Press offers a virtual office and business address for all your business needs. Located at 280 Gregg Street, Suite 10, LeRue Press is your personal assistant for friendly all-day service. Need a conference room to meet with clients? You got it. With LeRue Press, you also get phone answering service, mail forwarding, package pickup, and even help branding your business. Call LeRue Press at 849-3814 or go online to lrpnv.com.
Home at Last opens doors to family, to freedom, to finally making it yours. Home at Last, a program of the Nevada Rural Housing Authority, opens doors to rural home buyers with incomes of up to $135,000, providing down payment assistance of more than $22,000, plus access to our exclusive pet adoption program. From Gardnerville to Fernley to Carson City and even Sparks, rural happens here in every county in Nevada. Learn more at homeatlastnv.org.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I am your host, Janice Hermson, here with all my co-hosts. Hi, guys. And
hey.
Gal. I guess I have to say, and gal. Right?
Hi, I'm here.
I would call you a guy, but I guess that's not the right thing to do, you know?
Especially now.
Yeah,
Can't do that either.
I know. Well, this is our story time, and I look for inspirational stories. I look for stories about, businesses, artists, entertainers, whatever I can find. But in this particular case, I came across Shirley and Sam's site, the One Horse Ranch. And it just so happens that I know Sam, and Sam is Sam the Sign Man to me, because I knew Sam when I lived in Reading, and he did my sign for not my first business, but it was one of my first businesses. And so I just kind of said, I'm going to browse around here. And it was just so interesting, because this is all about what do we do as we progress in life, right? And with Sam, they have on their About page, and I want to read this to you. This is our semi-retirement farm. So Sam has been there for over 40 years, Shirley over 20. They married in 99 and are still happily in love with each other and their surroundings for several decades. Their place has been a haven for abused and discarded animals. And then they ask you to visit their critter rescue page. The farm, well, we'll call it a ranch because it sounds cooler, is only 10 acres. Only 10 acres, right? To me, that's a lot. But
it depends on what they do.
Exactly, but takes a lot of labor. Cheryl and I are the total ranch hands with an occasional visit from their boys who live out of state. As we are now octogenarians, it sure helps to be in reasonable health. Early on, we decided to forego the paperwork and regulations required for nonprofit tax-deductible operation. It just takes too much time and energy spent that could be used tending to the animals' needs. So they support them on their own. Some have stepped forward to help once in a while. That's always welcomed and appreciated. They welcome visitors, but they do require requests for appointment. They've no time to visit when they're working with the needy animal or maintaining fences and equipment. There's no admission charge. They're not an amusement park or a petting zoo, so not open to the public on a daily basis. But enough about us. How about you? Can we provide an item that will make you feel good about your purchase? Can we help you grow your garden or favorite plant? Let us know how you're doing. And if we can be of service, please share and chat with us. So I thought, this is just very cool. And having been to the ranch, right?
Could you feed the animals?
I don't know. We'll have to ask them.
I bet you could bring your own food. I bet they'll let you feed them.
I bet they would let you. Yeah, they'd probably appreciate it, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, but they also have plants. They have a store. They make some handmade stuff. We're actually doing some books where we're creating some different things, a project of Lenore's, and she's going to need some pots. So we're going to see if maybe they can help us out with that. So really, I'm sharing the story partially because I know the guy, and I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. And by the way, I haven't seen him in 20 years, 30 years, a long time. But at the same time, I just really thought that it was so interesting to see how he's migrated from being Sam the Sign Man to now having being semi-retired and doing his passion with the animals.
Well, it has to be a passion.
Exactly.
Because it's every day.
Yep.
Animals eat on Sunday.
Yes.
They eat on Saturday. They have babies on Monday night.
Yes,
I mean, they require attention.
Yeah, and they've got a nice site. So you can go to theonehorseranch.com and you can check it out. And if there's something you need, maybe you can get them to make it for you. They have some handmade things, plant holders, mini greenhouse, just different, wood type things, and so check them out. And that's the story for today. I thought it was a
I like
good
that story.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool story.
That's really positive, especially, they're so willing to help you. As I read a lot about gardening these days and seeds and that kind of thing. I know nothing about that. So the fact that they are willing to help assist you with that is pretty good.
Yeah. And it looks like what they're selling is inexpensive. I'm sure, of course, with shipping, obviously that adds to it. But they have a chat page. They have scaled model signs. So if you're into, little scaled miniatures, scaled signs. So he's taken his sign business, right, and scaled it down. Maybe I can ask him to make one for me of my other business, right? Just like he did before.
So have you when you were there, was every little thing labeled with a labeler, like horse, chicken, rooster,
it's a long time
water,
ago. I don't know.
Right? They got everything labeled.
I was busy, doing my work.
But so that's like what you were talking about in the beginning of our show today about reinventing yourself.
Right.
And so that's exactly what it sounds like they did.
Yeah, it really does. And I thought, like I say, I thought it was interesting because I knew he had a fair amount of land there. I honestly didn't know it was 10 acres. But they live out.
A lot.
Yeah, they live outside of Reading in the Anderson area, and so yeah, I just thought it was a good story, so I thought I would share it, and hopefully, maybe Sam gets a little business out of the deal, right?
Hoo-ha.
Well, I'm gonna write to him, and
I'll bet he washes his hands.
I want to know, do they have more than one horse?
Oh, my Lord in heaven. They have donkeys. Actually, they'll tell you what they have if you really want to
Well, it's called the One Horse Ranch. I didn't know if there was a token horse.
I don't know. We'll have to ask them, right? How many horses do you have, or do you have any? Right? There's some of their critter rescue. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post that also on What's the Story page. So if you want to check that out, you can. And we got a couple minutes here. Let's see. I know we aren't on this topic anymore. Tanisha was asking Ed about his whole reason for how he felt that it was compromised to have to wear a mask. And he said something about it being that it was infringing on your attitude. Was that kind of what you were?
No, when I wear a mask, it's out of respect for where I am. But yeah, I wouldn't wear one without that respect. Right, like if I go into your store or any store. So here's my thing. If the government requires me to wear a mask, I'm burning it. If a store owner tells me to wear it, I'll wear it out of respect.
Gotcha.
Right, and that's kind of how I am. That's my compromise. I just don't think it's the government's business.
Okay, that's fair. So she said, yes, but my question is based on what he said to April, asking her what she's giving up if she is already pro-mask. What are you giving up if you don't wear the mask? And I want to. In a compromise, we should both give up something.
I just don't see that.
But
April's
maybe you're saying that, and I think that is what he's saying, that that's not possible here. That might be the answer.
Right. I mean, the person who's suited up isn't giving up anything.
Right. Yeah, April. So he's just saying that you're not giving up anything.
Right. That you're talking about.
I like how he thinks that, because I had told him we're on the same side. I am doing it out of respect for life, not taking a casual attitude, and respect for authority, what has been said to me to do. So this is what I'm giving up.
Those are self-serving. You want to give those up, though. You've given them up willingly.
Why would I want to give those up?
Well, you have.
But she isn't doing it willingly, though. She's doing it out of respect, like you. Like you. Yeah.
She's going along to get along.
Going along to get along.
I don't see it that way.
We should all
go
along to get along. Let's go to the One Horse Ranch. I think we should go make a trip.
I'm about that. I'd love to go to the One Horse Ranch. That'd be fun.
We'll have to make an appointment.
I'm giving up not putting up with you, Ed, but I'm putting up with you. So
why do I get this grief? Just when people don't compromise, they get all right, get all anxious and like,
in your face.
Really,
in your
I
face.
know.
Yes.
I kind of like Ed's attitude with this, that because I feel the same way. When the government comes out and mandates something, I can feel the hair on the back of my head stand up. I don't like to be told what to do.
Aren't they doing that very thing right now?
So, I understand that part of it. And especially when there's no science behind it.
Well, I think the hardest part, for me anyway, is the fact that it isn't, that part's bad. But what's worse is that you have neighbors, you have people that are pointing the finger and saying that they're going to call the mask police if you don't put your mask on, basically.
Well, right. Where's that compromise?
Right? But that's the thing. Go along to get along, I can understand.
Yeah.
And, I will respect that because, out of necessity. But at the same time, we shouldn't become, pardon me, but Nazis about it and be pointing fingers at everybody because they may or may not be doing something that you don't know where they're coming from. So maybe think about that before you point the finger.
I'd be willing to
and make sure which finger it is. Oops.
There are many perspectives, that's for sure.
I'd be willing to
guys,
bet that.
Lighten it up. Come on.
Yeah. Where's your humor? Do we have to call Greg Schwinn?
So those that live in glass houses, right? Those that live in glass houses.
I'll bet you when Ed was just a mere child, he never watched The Lone Ranger.
What has that got to do with the price of beans?
The Masked Man.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking. Oh, my goodness.
Ed, you can pretend you have superpowers when you wear your mask.
So where do you get off on thinking I need to pretend I have superpowers? I have actual superpowers, and I'm not covering them up with a mask.
Now we've gone off the rails.
I think we got to the heart of the matter.
Maybe so. All right. Well, we are going to be back. Ed's going to share something with us. God knows, and we'll sure be ready for that, though.
Adversity.
Yeah, there you go. Adversity. Yeah, like we haven't had enough of that. Okay, we'll be right back. You're listening to What's the Story?
Ready for a live game of Clue? For nearly 30 years, Funtime Theaters held private and monthly dinner murder mysteries. Each night is different, and each event includes dinner and a show. You're the detective, and your job is to figure out who did what to who and why. At the end of the night, a super sleuth and not so super sleuth are awarded prizes. This is a great event for a birthday or holiday party and team building events for your office. Visit funtimetheater.com to make your reservations and use promo code RADIO for $5 off each admission.
As humans, we ask ourselves all kinds of questions. But what if we were forced to ask ourselves a question every day that affected the outcome of the most basic things, the most important things in our lives? The question is, what is your sexual orientation or gender identity? And the answer is the difference between keeping your job or getting fired. The answer is the difference between staying in your home or getting evicted. The answer is the difference between receiving medical treatment or not. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against people based on their answer to this question. LGBT Americans have the right to say I do, but they don't have the same basic rights as everyone else. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective.
Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Wake up, the sun's below. Got another road to sow. Let the fire feel the hope swelling up from the depths of my soul.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? And now it is time to have a new topic, right? Adversity. Is that really a new topic for you, Ed?
Well, you know what? April brought this to my attention, adversity. No.
Well, no, you were trying to offset the endurance and talk about...
Well, I think they're all compatible.
Right.
To me, the definition of adversity, actually, according to Webster's, I believe, is a state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. That's it. So I'm about to say that I think the coronavirus is big adversity. I don't know anyone.
That's an understatement.
So I'm just going to say, let's talk about my own life real quick, right? So I know some policemen who have jumped off cliffs, right? I've known people go into hospitals from illness. I don't know anyone with coronavirus, right? Don't know anyone who's died from it. To me, we're sitting here talking about it, but it's an adversity of the mind. To me, it's like, right? I looked up how many people believe in Santa Claus, right? How high? It's 43%, actually. It's a really big number. But I am here to say that basically the coronavirus is more in our heads. It's a serious disease if you got it, if you live in one of these places where your neighbors got it or your family's got it. But we don't have that here. And
at least not in our little circle.
Right, in our little circle,
right.
Or in my Omega Mortgage group, What's the Story, LeRue Press, and people I know, right? And I'm a network, right? We're out.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, there's lots of people. But to me, it's adversity of the mind. It's keeping us from achieving. What's next on your list? Right? What's next? What do you want to accomplish?
I don't know that it's keeping us from achieving. I think that it's hindering the ability to think you can. I think that's what it is. It's more hindering that I used to wake up in the morning and be excited about what direction we were going to take with the company and what we were going to be doing next. Now it's more, as I said, well, what are we going to be doing next? But it's for different reasons because you're wondering what business will be there today.
But if I hear you correct, what you're telling me is you can't multitask.
I think most people can.
Cannot?
Right? Cannot.
Oh, my gosh. My life is nothing but multitasking.
Working for others, right? Now, when we're pushing a business forward, right, and what's your biggest challenge now?
For a business?
No, for you.
For me? Oh, I think managing the projects I have going.
Okay. Jan, biggest challenge?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Well, he's asked me that a number of times. Right now, that.
Gotcha. April, what's your biggest challenge?
Our biggest challenge.
Your biggest challenge.
My biggest challenge?
I know you and Paul can have one as a business, but your personal biggest challenge.
My personal biggest challenge is that I have to weigh a lot of decisions on the consequences of this pandemic, and it affects the choices that I formerly did not think about. Now everything is a big choice and a big, perhaps an issue or a personal freedom.
And I think that's what many people are thinking, right? I think that. And if you do that, you know, we only use 10% of our minds as it is, right? If you fill it up with that, you don't have time for hopes, dreams, positivity, aspirations. You're living in fear. It's what if. We're not stepping on and moving through. We're all huddled up waiting. We're not acting as people.
I think that's a very jaundiced look at people. Now, Janice is a good example of what we're talking about. How many different jobs as an entrepreneur have you done? You've worked for other people, you've started businesses, you've gone ahead, you've pushed ahead.
Bad
you
example,
said,
though.
This doesn't...
Bad example.
Why?
Because she's a unicorn. There's nobody like her. I'm serious.
He's too kind to
No,
me.
I'm serious. Go talk
Or
about
rude.
most business folks, or go talk about white collar, blue collar workers, right, that aren't working due to their company's fear. Or
So from that you draw what?
That 25% of the population's unemployed because of their minds in fear of this coronavirus.
How about circumstance?
So, right, if
you
I
can
rest,
hope and wish and have all the great ideas in the world, all of the energy, but if you can't, if you don't have a trade, if you don't have something in the mind that you can do to fill that
so
void
here's
in
the
the
thing.
marketplace,
So when
you're
we
not
talked,
going to go to
when
work.
we talked about reading, right, it's a parent's problem till the kids are 18, then it's on them. Right? And it's the same with this, right? Your circumstance is what it is. You got no choice about it. Now, what you do with that is up to you, right? Whether you're born to poverty, rich, whatever.
But see, you used two terms there. Number one, you said you have no choice, but it's what you do with it. Those are two contradictive
No, they're
statements.
not.
Yes, it is.
You wake up from sleep. You're in an environment. Do you
Right.
get up? Do you roll over or go back to bed? Right? You have options when you wake up in your world.
You know, it's interesting that you should use that as an analogy because my wife had two brothers that were very unsuccessful. And that's the one thing I used to ask my wife. What is it that they think of when they wake up in the morning? Because when I wake up in the morning, I think, oh, man, I got to get this done. I got to do that. I've got to go here, and I have an appointment there. Oh, my gosh, I have to take care of that. I mean, my mind, as soon as I wake up, is trying to put that in a logical, position where I can get them all done. And her answer to that was they just want to know how to get through the day and where their first drink is going to come from.
Right. Attitude.
Well,
it's what they're doing with it. I'm a drunk. I've been there, done that.
They can have all the attitude they want in the world, all the good attitude.
All they got to do is quit drinking and, challenge themselves. I did it.
Well, I did
I'm just
too.
saying people can do it.
But
Wow,
people
we have
aren't
become-
wired the way you are. People aren't wired the way I am.
But do we want everyone to lay down because of the coronavirus, quit working, quit striving?
No.
Just let's chuck all
That's
our
not us.
ideas.
Can I inject here?
Yeah.
I think that what I'm hearing is there's a whole bunch of frustration, and I'm sure that you guys represent a good percentage of the population that's just super frustrated with the fact that we can't move forward, we can't make plans, we can't do anything because we don't know what our government's going to do to us next. And that's just not something that Americans are used to doing, is wondering what their government's going to do to them next. Because, despite what you might say about right or left when they're in power, we pretty much are free. We pretty much go along, we run our businesses, we do what we do, we follow regulations. Yes, there are, things we don't like, but we're pretty much free. We aren't feeling that right now. We aren't feeling that.
Well,
And that's what you guys are conveying, and in your own ways, that, does anybody want to chime in that's out there on Facebook? Or if you want to call in, we have a couple minutes here. You can call in and share what your thoughts are, because that's what I'm hearing. Is
But our business goals, right? I'm trying to onboard people, right? So testing centers are closed, right? You can't get people on, right? They got to
So
take
there's lots
tests.
of frustration.
There's stuff
Yes.
in the, it's just in the way. And to me, it shouldn't be in the way.
Yeah. So, and
Shouldn't
then
be,
again,
but the reality is it is. So you have to endure it.
yes, and
Or
this
ignore.
is really, I know, but you really have to endure it. You can't just ignore it because it's not going to go away.
No.
So you have to
Enduring
find a
is
way
the
to
only-
manage it.
But don't you think we're going to wake up one day and everyone's just going to, it's just going to be as accepted like the cold and the flu and everything else in our
No, because
vernacular.
there are people like you and me, and we're not just going to accept it. We're not going to. I won't. There's no way.
I just think it's going to be in the group of those diseases that travel around and catch us.
Well, no. I agree with that, but I don't think that we're just going to ignore things and just say, oh, that's just normal.
But I think we're going to wake up one day in a couple of months and everyone's going to be It's just like I woke up this week, like Monday, I think, and there were 4 car accidents, right? I was excited. I was like, people are going to work. People are going to work. I'm so excited. There were 4 accidents. There hadn't been 4 accidents in Reno in 6 months, right? But they all happened on the same morning. And to me, that was exciting. Because I thought people were going back to work.
Boy, he's tipping his hand here,
by
isn't
others' adversity.
No.
Well, that's his topic.
You should have been a firefighter. Nothing you'd like better than a good trauma out there, right? People bleeding all over the roadway.
Good one, Doug.
It's a great pressure point to get others to do stuff.
Wow. We go from adversity to welcoming adversity, right? Maybe that's what we need to do is welcome it.
It seems to me like we've opened the door and let it in. We need to kick it out.
Oh my goodness. Well, what an interesting segue there. That was different. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to have to take a break here pretty quick. Probably good timing, right?
The police
We gave you
outside
too
the
much time today. We'll have to cut you down to less time.
Well, let's hear the input. Good and bad. Rip me to shreds. I want to hear it.
You make it so easy, though.
Yeah.
I know, but why not? Let's see
He's just one big target, isn't he?
Yeah. All right. April, we'll let you take a shot of him after this break. We got one more segment coming up here.
I don't know.
We're going to talk some more about endurance, and Scott Kelly's got a book that we'll talk about, and then we'll just chit-chat until we're done, and then we'll do it again another time. All right, so we'll be right back to listen to What's the Story.
Businesses, writers, check this out. Go to lrpnv.com to get your printing, publishing, and professional services today. Need a virtual office? A place to receive and forward your mail with professional address and suite number for your business? Someone to answer your telephones? Want to rent a conference room for only $15 an hour? What about that book you've been wanting to have printed? LRP Printing and Business Center can do it for you, and they have a professional assistant on site daily, Monday through Friday. Just call 775-356-1004. Need copies, business cards, invoices, books, booklets, or graphic design to help brand you or your business? Just call 775-356-1004 or go to lrpnv.com. With a great selection of new and used books, you can get your printing done and a book to entertain you in your time off. And don't forget, you could have your business sponsoring the Book Hound radio show, just like Andrew Martoni, author of Little Man in the Math, does every week. Just go to lrpnv.com. That's lrpnv.com or call 775-356-1004. They'll provide solutions for your business and writing projects.
Matthew.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Now she's gone like a...
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
And welcome back. This is our last segment of What's the Story. It's
Sorry to scare you all off last time.
A rousing time.
Sure, you'll get us wound up and then say, okay, that's it.
All right, we're done now. But it's been a good show, and I think that it was great to have a little bit of lightheartedness at the beginning because we had a pretty serious topic going on with all the COVID stuff. But I wanted to cover it in a way that was different than just being negative and just being, or sensationalizing. That's not what we do. So hopefully we gave you some facts that might be useful and maybe allow you to endure.
And not be a fearmonger.
Right.
And be able to compromise.
And deal with adversity. How about that? Did we cover it all? I think we covered it all.
Let's put a gerbil ball around us all and wear it in.
Say it again, April.
I said whether the adversity is in your head or real.
Right.
That's a really good point because they're the same.
Well, it's real if it's in your head. It's real. Yeah, that's true. They are the same in a way.
And that's what I'm talking
about.
Wait
a minute. It might be real, but it might not be. It might not be attached to reality. It might be what you envision, but could be completely.
Well, then, if it's in your way, all the more ridiculous.
Well,
Exactly.
let's talk about endurance again.
Okay. I'm up for that.
So, are they back to running marathons?
Who?
Anybody? New York City, Boston.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
Don't they have the marathons this time of year?
Virtual.
Can you imagine somebody running
ones.
that far without somebody chasing you?
You do virtual, and I think that's a good point about endurance. Physical endurance is important, especially during these conditions. Right now, it's even if you only have 10 minutes to spare. Personally, I was feeling very slow and lazy. My brain wasn't working. It was sludge. And I thought, I have to do this little workout. And it just got the blood.
Well, April, you need to go to Team RWB. I'm telling you. It's very
good.
cool.
It need not even be long, like just 10 minutes. And then you feel revitalized and you can take on your adversity, real or otherwise.
Yeah, well, the Team RWB that I'm doing is every day or every week they have a new challenge. So they have yoga and they have the either virtual biking or real biking. And what you do is you check in, so there's some accountability to it.
They don't send you a text and go, "Hey, did you climb your 5
They do send a text if you haven't checked in.
Nice.
So it is some accountability, but obviously there's no detriment to it really, other than to yourself, right?
They're not going to beat you.
No.
Well, right, self-accountability.
Right, it's self-accountability, but it's almost like being able to have like your own trainer in a sense without having that. So people like me that don't like that kind of thing, no, this I can deal with, right? Because I even did my last 10 miles last night at like 11 o'clock. I was I had so much to do, and I was like trying to finish everything up. I went, oh my God, I didn't do that. I have to do it. It's the last day.
Yep, really proud of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, 70 miles.
Isn't it kind of neat? It's self-fulfilling in two respects. Number one, psychologically you conquered it.
Right.
And number two, you feel better because you've been exercising.
Right.
So I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, I did the 18 days, and now another 7, and now they're doing the bike thing. thing is like 4 days, you do however much you want. But I've already decided I'm just going to keep doing every day, do something, right?
Right.
Because that was pretty easy to do. And I've always exercised, but I've not been consistent.
So making good habits.
Right.
Right. It's just like incorporating it into your day, and then it's easier.
Yeah. So let's go to talking about a little bit about endurance. I just want to share the book because I said I would. New York Times bestseller, Endurance, My Year in Space, a Lifetime. We'd all love to be there right now. Lifetime of Discovery, Scott Kelly. So the veteran of 4 space flights and the American record holder for consecutive days spent in space, Scott Kelly, has experienced things very few have. Now he takes us inside a sphere utterly hostile to human life. He describes navigating the extreme challenges of long-term spaceflight. The devastating effects on the body, the isolation from everyone he loves, and the comforts of Earth. We're all kind of going through that. The pressures of constant close cohabitation. Come on, that was a joke, guys. And the catastrophic risks.
Looks to me like he's not compromising.
Of depressurization or colliding with space junk. But perhaps the most haunting challenge is that of being unable to help should tragedy strike at home, something Kelly knows about firsthand. He actually is the, I guess it tells us here later. Kelly's humanity, compassion, humor, and passion resonate throughout as he recalls his rough and tumble New Jersey childhood and youthful inspiration that sparked his astounding career. And so this is his personal story. You see the triumph of the human imagination, strength of human will, and the infinite wonder of the galaxy. So I just thought that it was a great book. It's got 1,006 ratings for all you folks who like ratings or don't. And it's
Doug. I mean, Ed started on
I
that.
know it's 4 and almost 5 stars. So 4 and
That's
then a
terrific.
skosh. Yeah, I thought it was, and it's been out for a while. September 25th, 2018 is this particular one. That's probably the Kindle book. But I just thought that it was, and I thought it took us away from, it talks about endurance, but it also takes us away from our present and puts you into a kind of another space, right? I mean, truly another space. And think about that. We feel isolated. Think about how he must have felt during that period of time.
I did see the parallels with what he was talking about, isolation.
Right.
What if there's a family emergency? We can't get there.
Right.
We are.
Yeah, but
we
he
are
chose
separated
his
from those
space.
Well, of course.
Like a military person.
It's true, but even
you can
so.
take what he says and apply it to your life and say, hey, he applied these principles or these tricks or this whatever life hack, and maybe I can get some kind of strength from that too.
But not only that, he chose that, but imagine once you get there, now I can't get out of this, right?
Exactly.
It's
You're
like,
stuck.
Best I know, that's what they want. They want to go in space. They want to be that guy. He wanted to be the guy who set the record for the most space days. He's a test pilot. He wants all that stuff.
It's true.
Yes, he had a goal. He had hope or faith that he would prevail in the end, but he's human and he had to go through all the emotional and psychological things getting to that point, as do we have emotional maybe this isn't what we want. For all of us, this isn't what we want, but we have we're made up of the same thing, psychologically and emotionally.
Well, she's on today.
Yeah, that was April. That was great.
Thank you, Doug.
So you guys have plans for the weekend? I mean, is that a scary question for me to ask?
Play it on a Monday. On a Monday it is, kind of. What do you got?
What are you doing on the weekend? Anything?
So I've just been
Well,
perpetually
because the week is
working
going to
on
be
my
work,
yard.
right? The
Well,
week is going to be work.
I've been doing
would
physical work on the weekends.
Yeah, I've got plans with friends on the weekend, just a little social distancing, socializing.
So are you sacrificing?
Yes, I am.
How?
I am
How?
sacrificing. They do not, because I'm outside, I'm not being as hospitable as I would like to be.
No, but that
As
sacrifices.
generous as I would like to be.
He's just not going to let up on her.
Yeah.
It's okay. I am sacrificing.
When you
On
choose, it's
occasion,
not a
you can, as
sacrifice.
far as I know, it's not against the law to see other people on a social level.
That's what I was saying, right? I mean, it seems to me like there's whole protocol now to go through just to have coffee.
Well, I want to remind everybody to check out online. Go to thebookgallerynv.com and check out What's the Story. We've got it online now, so you can see it. We've got some great articles in there. I don't know if you've had a chance to go through, but
well, I've been to the store recently, and the books are
they're phenomenal.
It's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, we got a ton, and our customers are starting to come back. It's slow, I will say that it's slow go. That some of them, they're coming and going, but they're coming back.
That's the trial, is trying to convince your customers or any new people.
Yeah.
That it's okay to.
Yeah, we actually have a UV gun that we use, and so we try to do everything we can to keep everybody safe and clean the doors, clean the baskets, clean.
Yeah, and when they go in the bathroom, they wash their hands.
And I guess that's why it's getting on everybody's nerves, all this cleaning.
So that is happening to people, and people are edgier for it, and there's domestic violence for it, and these simple requests for people to wear masks, people are losing it because they're edgy, they're anxious because of what's going on, and
yeah. Well,
But people have always been anxious or edgy over something. I mean, remember some of the soccer matches, the dads would get into fist fights and practically kill each other.
Yeah, but that still happens, and it's always going to happen. Kids
so these are people who haven't learned to cope.
This is more widespread. That's the problem. It's everybody.
Yeah, right.
Everybody going through the same thing. So thankfully, Nebraska is getting outside.
Yeah.
So, yay. So
how
we need
much
to know
for the
that.
gov? We got a trade going.
We're going to trade Nebraska.
We got a
Nevada.
proposal.
It's an N word, right?
We got a proposal. Yeah.
There you go.
It starts with an N.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, So N-E, Nebraska, Nevada, right?
Yeah.
It's not much of a translation. We can make that happen. All right. Well, I guess we have to go. That's the sign that it's time.
What?
And we will see you again here next week. Thanks for being with us. And, you got something to say, just share it with us.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
And keep your mask on.
I know I need to pay attention to my health, but I just can't seem to find the time. Between rushing to work and taking care of the kids, there's not much time left over for me. So I decided to start